Welcome to Sonoma Raceway and Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup action. I'm Joey Atterbury. We're going to be joined shortly by Joe Peak. It has been a very wet and soggy morning, and now it is a nice sunny afternoon for some racing. Let's take a look at our track map and where we're located just north of San Francisco here in California. A racetrack that is filled with elevation changes, starting off at turn number 1, steep uphill all the way to turn number 3. And once we get up to turn number 3A out there, it is pretty much downhill all the way throughout to turn number 7. The S is my favorite section of the racetrack, and then turn number 11 on the close end to us rounds out a lap of about 2.5 miles and 12 turns. And let me tell you, folks, we have got a large lineup here, so let's get reading. Carl Stout is our pole sitter. Sharing row number 1 is going to be Jensen Safronis out there. Riley Jacomazzi is going to be starting in 3rd with Blake McGovern next to him in P4. Lottie Bloxham back here in P5 with Luke French in 6th place. Mark Bowden is going to be starting out leading the Masters class in 7th overall with Brandon Hankins next to him in 8th. On row number 5, it's going to be Frank Vitiello lined up with Caden Kelly in that 208 car. On row number 6 in 11th place is Chris Hutter sharing it with Matt Siegel starting in 12th. In 13th spot, we got Andy Child, Dave Musial Jr. 2.0 sharing row number 7 starting in 14th. Sean McCaig is a nice top 15 qualifying effort. Matt Dusek is going to be starting in 16th in that bright orange number 251 car. Elaine Scalzo in 17th with Keith McGovern in 18th on row number 9. And then in row number 10 is going to be Dave Musial and Dan Ammon in 20th place. And we still got another 15 cars or so. Bill Fennick is going to be lined up in 21st spot. 22nd is going to belong to Scott Neal. Back here in 23rd is going to be Alessandro Chiacchetti, sharing 24th, and row number 12 Francisco De Jesus. A little bit further back is going to be Troy Monty, and then next to him in 26th is going to be Alex Smith. On the final, row number 14 is going to be Todd Treffert, lined up with Joel Johnson. That is going to conclude our GT3 Cup starting grid. Everything displayed on the left side of the screen here, and just for everybody's information, those green numbers that identifies the Pro-Am classes, while the gold, the yellow numbers identify the Masters class out there. I had mentioned it was a little bit of a soggy morning, had a ton of rainfall overnight and into the morning here at Sonoma Raceway, but really call it for the last hour and a half or so. We've gotten some breaks in the sky, a little bit of blue sky out there, and if you've noticed, that track surface is completely dry. So these drivers, even though they qualified in the wet, they now have to adapt to the changing condition that is a dry racetrack and have to go out there and stand on the gas pretty much immediately. Pace car is on the second lap right now, already got the lights out, so everybody is going to be forming up 2 by 2 here pretty shortly. Usually it happens right about here, about turn number 9, where we've got this chicane. You just got to be careful to get through here somewhat easily if you're going double file. Single file is usually a little bit more less concerning, but it looks like we got the majority of our field already stacked up. There's Elaine Scalzo in the 222. So now it is going to be relinquished to Carl Stout. Our safety car is going to exit stage left here. That is where our pit lane entry is at Sonoma Raceway. And we'll be getting our green flag here momentarily. Carl Stout is your pole sitter. That is the white and green number 243. Safronis sharing the front row with them. Both very, very young drivers making their way up through the ranks, and this is a great opportunity for them to display how fast they really are at the front of this sprint challenge field. Green flag at Sonoma Raceway. Carl Stout gets an excellent hole shot jump, but Safronis staying door to door with them all the way up into turn number 1. Now we're going to have to hit the brakes for what is turn number 2 at the top of the hill. Carl Stout is able to roll his way in, but Riley Jacomazzi has contact from the back bumper. I believe that was Blake McGovern getting into him at the top of turn number 2 and spins the green car. Riley Jacomazzi around I think I saw one other car maybe off drivers left, but our top three right now is Carl Stout, Sofronis, and Lockie Bloxham. Look at how big it is down there at turn number 4. These are the two cars that were off up here at turn number 2. That's the 249 car. That's going to be Alessandro Chiacchetti also involved, but I think it was a completely separate incident from what we saw of Blake McGovern getting into the back of Riley Giacomazzi, spinning that green car around. Oh, Carl Stout pretty loose down there at turn number 7 on the first lap, and look at this bumper-to-bumper action, and I think I finally have got Joe Peak back with us here in the commentary booth, just trying to get everything up and running here for him as well, and Carl Stout continues to lead this race.
So him not starting on the pole has not stopped him. Poor Giacomazzi, unfortunately, with a bit of trouble there, as Sofronis in P2 is under severe threat from Lockie Bloxham.
And oh my goodness, that little bit of an incident with Blake McGovern and Riley Giacomazzi at the top of turn number 2. I'm sure Race Control will be taking a look at it. But I think that unfortunately the one that really got out of there unscathed was going to be Blake McGovern.
Well, as they now head around on the latest lap, Bowden still our leader down in the Masters as well. Caden Kelly trying to chase. As we take a look at Bloxham, still on the heels of Sofronis. Interestingly though, Stout's not exactly distancing himself.
No, and we got to remember, since we had that little bit of a shakeup in qualifying where it was wet, and they kind of had a little bit of some differing track conditions, Carl Stout did start on the front row in pole position there, so it's Sofronis on the outside. So I think that this has been a fantastic job for basically the young guns up at the front to kind of display what they're worth.
Yeah, and apologies, I had forgotten that they had reordered things according to Group A and Group B, inside and outside lines there, so that did allow him to take that pole position. In the meantime, the 240 and the 296 are under review for that opening lap incident. That is Giacomazzi and McGovern, it looks like.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning, at least from what I saw, I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a replay queued up or not. Everything accordions up at turn number 2, especially on those opening laps, and just a big old accordion effect happened, and unfortunately it was front bumper to rear bumper contact from what I saw.
Watching the 234 here, a little bit farther down just ahead of the 251. That's McCaig versus Dusek. That's for 5th in the Masters class. Dusek certainly looking threatening coming up to the braking. In fact, he's going to try and send it up the inside, and he's pinched all the way down to those tire bundles. Somehow he finds the room. An amazing job from Dusek, and that is going to move him up into 5th in class now.
Dusek is always one of those guys that really gets out there and races it out. I think he was probably hoping for a little bit better of a qualifying effort than what he did back in, call it 15th or so, but since he is buried in the middle of the field, we're going to see him put that racecraft on full display, getting by a lot of cars today.
Keith McGovern, who had a few incidents in qualifying, obviously trying to make up for that. That's Child just in front of him in the 202 that he is working on. Although Child in the Pro-Ams, Keith McGovern in the Masters. So they are in 2 separate categories, but still overall track position does make a difference.
Watching them all stream through what is the carousel section, and I mean, I can't believe my eyes out here, Joe, from these overhead shots. What was a rain-soaked racetrack earlier this morning where all these drivers qualified in is nice, beautiful, sunny weather now.
Yeah, I mean, we can see the remnants of it with a lot of puddles still kind of seeping out, but for the most part, it's a completely dry track, and drivers will have to try and adapt to that over what they started with. Child might be under threat here, looking to the inside, and no, he gets chopped off as McGovern unable to do anything there.
Well, I think that you may have led out a little bit of foreshadowing with Carl Stout. You said that you were pretty surprised that he hasn't run away with it. Well, after a couple laps, I think he's finally grown that gap. Here is that first, second, third battle, and you can see our leaders actually run away by about 1.5, 1.6 seconds, but Safronis has his hands full with Lockie Bloxham.
Yeah, like I said, he's a younger driver. He's still trying to garner lots of experience out there, and he's going to get some today, apparently, because the Australian is just piling it on, trying to take that second place. But the GMT driver so far doing well. We saw a few errors during the qualifying session out of Jensen. Question is, what did he learn from that?
I think that if he can keep Carl Stout in his windshield, in his view, that is going to be step number one. See if there's any brake marker differences, see if there's any line differences. He's being pushed out a little bit wide there in turn number 7, and I think it's only because Bloxham is applying so much pressure that Safronis is on the edge of performance, just trying to extract everything that he possibly can out of that car to keep that silver car behind him.
Well, the good news is he's got the mirror turned the right way now, so he can see where that car is. But my goodness, how much longer will he see that car, because he was just pushing him through the final chicane. He goes defensive down into turn 11. Long way around for Bloxham. No, he's going to go for the undercut as he tries to get the throttle down. He does almost get the overlap, but it's shorter to the inside of 12.
But let's see what happens up here in turn number 2. If Bloxham stays on the aggression and tries to make a move, he's certainly got the car all the way loaded up, but there it goes. Nice defense from Safronis.
Blake McGovern, who is in the 240 involved in that incident with Giacomazzi, has been giving a stop plus 30 seconds. That's his race practically done unless we get some sort of yellow flag.
And I mean, talk about turning the day upside down for Blake McGovern, right? I mean, so much speed in Group B and qualifying back there, and then to have that happen on the opening lap, he's definitely in for a ride.
This one's going to hurt a lot, honestly, because he took 2 third places at Barber, and that pushed him up into second in the championship. He's just not going to get too many points for this one now, and so he could find himself behind Riley Giacomazzi, maybe even Matt Siegel after this is done. Siegel currently running 7th in that class.
2 different line differences between the second and third place cars. That Jensen went way out wide in turn number 7, very similar to what we saw maybe in the qualifying sessions when the drivers were searching for the grip at the end of the drag strip down there. But ever since it's gotten dry, typically the shorter, typical race line has been prevailing, and I think if he's going to look for an area of the racetrack to really extract some more speed, that's been 2 laps in a row that Bloxham has just absolutely killed it over the curbs in turn number 9 and ate up the gap.
Doing everything he can, try and keep that pressure on. Looks like he got a little bit of a battle behind them as well, I think. Blake McGovern is serving that penalty right now, so he'll give up lots and lots of positions up into turn 2 once again. Still nothing quite there. And we've already seen today that if you are a car that is under attack, it's possible to hold on to that position, especially at a place like Sonoma, but you've got to stay cool.
We do have a few good passing opportunities here on this racetrack. However, the straightaways aren't monster-long straightaways where you can sit behind a car and use the toe and use the slipstream. You really have to be right on their bumper coming out of the previous corner to be able to set up a pass at some of these brake zones. So I'm with you, Joe. As long as you stay mistake-free here at Sonoma, it can be very difficult to pass.
That looks a lot more comfortable for Safronis coming into turn 7. That's a bigger distance that we've seen for some laps between these two. Maybe he's really just got his nose to the grindstone now, although that was quite a slide coming out of the second apex.
Yeah, maybe a little happy putting the power down, and here riding on board with Dave Musial, the 231. I think that was dipping down below Elaine Scalzo. I see him trying to do a little bit over-under, but maintains and chops the nose there, so move him past the 222.
Man, I mean, what a bounce back from Musial, because at one point they had to extract his car from the barriers. Now he's managed to get himself back up to 9th overall with that move. Now he's 7th in class, doing a very good job here. And as the and I think that was Brandon Hankins that just cut the chicane. Did he actually hit the tires? Because he was well close to them from when I looked over out our commentary booth.
I don't think that he actually hit the tires, but he was definitely not pointed the same direction as the racing line.
Oh, okay. Well, that is going to be interesting to see if we can pull that one up. But like we said, Musial Jr. now, now up to 8th, actually, I'm seeing. So it's not just 9th position. Yet more. I wonder if that is from Brandon Hankins and the mistake that he had that we're seeing that extra position being tossed at him. Fastest lap of anybody goes to Jensen Safronis. Carl Stout has been reeled in at least just a little bit.
That's interesting to see. And I mean, fastest lap by a good margin, right? Over 0.3 of a second at 39.1. We did see these cars dip down into the 38s in that qualifying session. However, different fuel load, different situation. Also, all of the drying racetrack when they were really searching for that grip. So will be pretty interesting.
222 Scalzo does have Chris Hutter, but Hutter is a Pro-Am. Scalzo is a Masters driver. So this is not for points paying positions. This is, however, definitely an important one for Scalzo because he has Brandon Hankins, which is another Pro-Am, but then back behind him is going to be Dusek, who seems to be on a charge from what we saw earlier, and that would take Scalzo off the podium. So he doesn't want to lose too many positions here. He's only got what looks to be maybe about 6 or 7 seconds back to Dusek, and if he continues to bleed, then he could be quite vulnerable. Jacques Amazzi, in the meantime, I know we haven't shown him, is picking off cars bit by bit, and he's managed to just take 15th overall.
Nicely done from Riley. It's always so difficult when you kind of get turned around at the very beginning of a race. You literally lose all of the track position, right? And he was sitting up inside the top 5. So one thing that he can look forward to for the rest of this is that he will pass a lot of cars.
It'll be a fun day. So we check out, Bowden is ahead of Kelly still, as they were before, but it's only half a second between them. That is Kelly in the magenta and blue car. The blue and black, that is Mark Bowden. Bowden has finally got himself a victory here in Sprint Challenge. His first one came at Barber. Kelly going to try and deny him. Oh, and we spoke too soon for Jacques Amazzi. He seemed to be going slow there for a brief moment, coming over what looked to be turn 3A. Oh, we're hearing that was actually turn 2. Whoa, slide from Kelly down into the first apex of 7. He recovers well. He's pushing hard. Can't quite get there yet.
And this is that Masters class lead like you were just mentioning. And I think that Caden Kelly maybe has a little bit of unfinished business out there. After qualifying, he was definitely one of the fastest cars in that Group B. And Bowden's out there now kind of leading that way. So I think that Caden Kelly maybe a little bit of a chip on the shoulder, trying to get a little bit faster and claim that Masters lead.
And I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've seen Caden Kelly this season, if I'm seeing right. I don't see him on their scorecard for the first 4 rounds. So coming in and making a bit of a splash on Bowden, who is chasing Scalzo for the championship lead right now, and there's only 3 points between them. So I don't think Bowden's going to want to give this up, especially with Scalzo currently sitting in 3rd.
Two maybe a little bit differing exit lines. Oh, that's coming out at turn number 11. Is that Frank Vitiello?
It looks like it.
That's usually the red 248 out there, and I do see him dropping down, timing and scoring right now. He's got it spun back around the right way. Just got to be careful about this other car coming up. I think, is that Riley Jacques Amazzi actually getting by now?
Now, we had an incident with the 214, and he's been given a stop plus 30 seconds. That is Todd Treffert. Checking to see who that was involved with.
The 295 is Brandon Hankins.
No, the 214.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Stop plus 30 seconds for the 214 is what I'm seeing from race control. So,
gotcha.
Didn't quite see.
I do see that Brandon Hankins, since the 295 has been mentioned a couple times here, is starting to move his way back up after having that little bit of an incident down in turn number 9.
Exactly. It may have involved another car because we were seeing 267 and 295 incident reviewed, no action taken. Well, mystery further deepens on what caused that one as we keep watching that battle for the Masters lead, which also worth pointing out, Bowden is 4th overall. He's well high up the order. Always look at the side-by-side behind them. Was that Scalzo? I think that Scalzo is still trying to hold Hutter back. And now Keith McGovern's had an issue.
Yeah, and there is a little bit of damage just in front of that left rear wheel, and I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but it certainly seemed like that left rear wheel was not pointed completely straight. I wonder if maybe that's some of the incidents you were just reading off, Joe.
It turns 7, I'm seeing, the 288, so I wonder with that that's to the left side of the car. So I think we're going to get a full course yellow, because if that tire is turned the wrong way, then we're getting confirmation. Full course yellow is out, and I think you're right. That wheel kind of looks a little bit cockeyed. The thing that interests me, I would expect that part of the car to get hit if someone looked to the inside, but that would be on his driver's right. That contact was somehow on driver's left.
So the other thing that you were forgetting, or that might be a little bit confusing, is that what happens when you spin it all the way around 180 in a hairpin?
True.
Right, and somebody's trying to sneak down the inside, if it's an avoiding action. There's always possibilities like that.
That's true. Well, this is going to slow us down. We got about 15 minutes into this race, a little bit more than that, before things suddenly come to a yellow. In fact, I think this is the first full course yellow we've had for the weekend in the races. Our previous 2 of today went green the entire way. That's a good sign that everybody's been racing that well so far, that we haven't really needed to see the safety car come and stack them up. For Carl Stouts, this is not what he wanted. So Fronis is going to regain the ground, so will Bloxham. And for Bowden, he's going to have Kelly not only close behind him, but he's going to have cars right in front of him, so that's going to get even more complicated for the 246.
And even if it has an extremely fast extraction in terms of getting hazard off the racetrack so we can go back to green flag racing, I mean, it's 17 and a half minutes remaining. I have a feeling this will take at least, about 5 minutes or so?
Probably, that would be my guess.
That maybe up to 7. Right, and so it's going to leave a tiny little sprint for these racers here at the end.
And for Giacomazzi, he's definitely going to need that, because he's lost time with an initial spin and then with another one that we're not sure what the cause was in turn 2. He's down in 19th, sitting 10th in his class. So we watch on board with our leader chasing behind the safety car. There is the cleanup crew off the left-hand side of turn 7 right now.
And everybody is just going to settle back in. You mentioned Riley. A little bit of a tough start to this one. And I think that's kind of been a little bit of the story for a lot of his beginning part of the season here, is that he shows so much potential as we just kind of are watching the 288 get recovered out there on the racetrack. But talking about Riley, he has so much speed, so much potential, and there's been a few situations where he might have gotten taken advantage of a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I feel for him, definitely, because I think he should be a little bit further up the order, but this does potentially breathe some new life into his race about getting further up that order.
He needs a turnaround. He started off with a 2nd place. It was such a great race for him to take that P2 at Sebring. Since then, it's been a 5th place, a 5th place, a 5th place. And like you said, it's just been compromised competitions for him. And this one has been added to that. Unfortunately, it might be worse than a 5th place unless he can make a lot of passes on this restart. And already you can see drivers having to warm the tires. Something we haven't touched on today, I think that has also been a bit of a factor, Joey. Not only has it been rainy, but it's actually kind of cool out.
It is. Let's check that ambient air temperature. I think it should be about
66, I'm seeing.
Yeah, mid-60s out here, so not super warm, but that is something the engines love, right? The cooler the air temperature, the more horsepower, the happier they are producing those levels. So with the sunshine on the racetrack now, I think that's the other big benefit. Cool air temperatures equal horsepower, sunshine on the racetrack equals grip, because you get that warmth in the asphalt itself, and then these Yokohama tires are very, very happy with those grip levels. So I think that we've gone from the slowest sessions of the day being in full wet to now potentially the fastest they'll go all weekend.
Absolutely. And the drivers have also been laying down some rubber, because I'm sure that rain has made it a very green track, so it's probably been picking up over the course of this. We saw they had put the 288 on the hook, so he's now out of the way, and thankfully there's a lot of runoff there at that portion, so they can easily tuck that car away, and we should be able to get going soon. Let me check to see when our limit is for when the lights can go off. Turn 8, so it's got to be pretty quickly here, because this is turn 7 right now.
I'm very, very happy with how the track crew handled that situation, right? Typically you're going to pull it all the way back into the paddock, but like you just said, there is a ton of room down there at the end of the drag strip, so I think they just essentially pulled it back behind the big concrete wall there, so we can get back going racing. Now, I do still see the lights on the pace car, so I think we'll be getting one more.
No, they just
just turned them off right before turn number 9.
So it looks like they had met the threshold, and they think they're ready to go. What's this restart going to look like? We had drama at the beginning. Will it repeat itself, or can Stout stave off all of these aggressive, hungry drivers who want to try and beat him? 4 wins in 4 races for the Belgian, and he knows that he's got a target on his back. Somebody heading into pit lane, and I'm trying to figure out who that is. But we now come around the final turn, and he is allowed to accelerate, which he already has. And we go racing once again. Carl Stout got a good jump. Sofronis does not have an answer. He is still under threat, because look at how close Bloxham is to him. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead in the Masters stays as it was, with Bowden ahead of Kelly.
Up and over turn number 2, now head towards turn number 3. Carl Stout absolutely nails that restart there. You see him about a 3, maybe 4 car length gap over Sofronis, sitting there in the second place, and these top 3 are all Pro-Am cars. And then conveniently comes our Masters class of Mark Bowden and Caden Kelly, the next 2 cars in line.
That was De Jesus who pulled off. I think he was a lap down, so he was getting out of the way of the leaders to help this battle out, which is fantastic to see as we come down into turn 7 once more, with Lockie actually going back and forth, trying to get his nose underneath. Thankfully does not make contact, but it looked like he was squirming on the brakes. He was so close, and now he's gone too deep.
Definitely went out wide trying to get on the gas, and maybe just picked up a little bit of understeer, because the nose was way in the air trying to accelerate out of that very slow corner. And now this is Mark Bowden and Caden Kelly. So Mark is in this fall line machine, Caden Kelly in the multicolored 208 directly behind. I had mentioned this is our Masters class lead and second place.
This is about to get fun here as we come up to turn 11 once again. And got to give credit to Sofronis. That gap looks like it's come down just a bit. Let's see what it looks like as they cross the line. Half a second between Carl and Jensen right now, as we turn our attention to Bowden versus Kelly.
Up the hill here into this short brake zone of turn number 2. Bowden got a terrific run over the top of the hill there. Actually kind of extends the gap by 1, maybe 2 car lengths over Caden Kelly. And I'm with you. I saw that gap up to our leaders as well. It certainly seems like Sofronis on a hot lap right now has closed it in on Carl Stout, our leader.
The thing that impresses me is, even though I know racing is very psychological and it's important to be in the right headspace, but seeing Bowden take this win, and now suddenly the very next race he's leading again, clearly that is what he has been needing.
It's the dominoes, right? Sometimes you just need that one domino to fall, and all of a sudden everything else lines up. All of a sudden the practice sessions feel good, the qualifying sessions, they're making speed out there, and honestly, the best thing for Mark Bowden right now is happening to the back end of Caden Kelly, because Dave Musial Jr., a Pro-Am car, is threatening Caden Kelly for that position. That's what Mark Bowden wants to see. Put a different class in between him and Caden.
This is the last thing that Caden Kelly wanted. Right now, we got a car on the outside of 7, and thankfully everybody sees it and gives them a nice wide berth. Finally, they are able to take off. We'll see if we can figure out who that is. We're thinking maybe French.
I think it definitely is Luke French, the way he's dropping down the order, and we typically see him up towards inside the top 10, so maybe a little bit of an unfortunate issue down there at turn number 7.
I can't confirm. The race control said the 275. That is Luke French. Again, a bit of a shame. He's been doing so well up to there. And yeah, look at this between them. It is blown a bit, up to 3/4 of a second now. Wonder if Carl's responding, and I'd say he is because he just took the fastest lap of the race.
139.1, compare that to Jensen, the 139.3 directly behind, and then Lockie blocks him a 139.7. The only 3 cars sub 140 are our top 3 Pro-Ams.
Carl does not want to let the young Safronis get any closer than that. Looks like Chiacchetti sandwiched in amongst a close battle here. A little bit farther down in the field. So they're coming into turn 4 and plunging down once more. I think this is, trying to figure out who this is amongst this group. Looks like Monte and Vitiello, I think, just in front, and then that is Neil in behind.
And that would certainly make sense. Ooh, a little bit of action down here, a little bit further up the field. I think that's Blake McGovern holding off a hard-charging Bill Fennick. Actually, I think it's the other way around, is that Blake McGovern is getting around Bill Fennick out there, and now he has got to train a car. So remember, Blake McGovern had to serve that penalty a little bit earlier in the race, and now he's looking to have a recovery drive.
Yeah, and that full course yellow probably helped him. That bunched everybody back up so he can gather up a few more cars. He's still only in 10th. He needs to pass Dan Ammon, and then he finally has Riley Giacomazzi just in front of him.
Well, and how much do you think Riley wants to see that car in the rearview mirror?
Probably absolutely does not want to see it, if we're honest. So ring the bell, because it's time for round 2 for them if he catches.
It's amazing how some of this stuff works itself out on the racetrack, right? And it always seems that if you have an issue with one driver, the next week you're going to be racing with them. Well, here at Sonoma, it was you had an issue with one driver at turn number 2, and here he is with 7 minutes to go racing you out.
Oh, man. That'll be fun to watch. Oh, we got a full course yellow.
And I'm unsure of where this is, but we do have full course yellow at start finish, so that is not a graphic error.
28, I'm seeing stopped at turn 11 maybe. So I'm trying to see if we can find, that is Monte, if that's correct. Not sure if that, and there might be another car with them, so I wonder if there was an incident that the cars got to the wall.
Yeah, oh, and that is down there at turn number 11, so call it the close end of the racetrack to where we are. The only problem is that it's just around the corner, so we physically can't see anything down there at turn number 11. We're riding on board here with Carl Stout, who's going to be the first driver on the scene. Joe, maybe we can pick up something from the onboard here.
Yeah, yeah, and that's pretty much what I kind of assumed, is that somebody wound up in the outside wall. You can see debris scattered across the track. So they've made contact of some form, and it's made it a very narrow gap to get through there. With 2 cars to clean up, if they are stuck there, then I'm almost certain we're going to finish this one under yellow.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a tough one there, given how much time we have remaining, right? I think that's what we're working against, basically, is the time on the clock remaining.
So, checking out who that is, that's Monte and Chiacchetti, who seem to have made contact there at turn 11 at some point. Well, we were doing so good and had 2 races go lights to flag without a caution. Now we've had 2 in 1 race for the GT3 Cup, but Stout has withstood the pressure from Safronis in Jensen's first race here in Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup. And Jensen, though, I think should be pretty proud if he does wind up with this 2nd place. That's a pretty way to kick things off.
think, yeah, focus on the positives, right? I think that there's a couple of drivers here that are going to definitely drop down the championship order. But Carl Stout was able to maintain his, call it dominance, at the front of the field. But what I'm loving seeing, it happened at Barber and it's happening at Sonoma. We have this incredibly fast kid up at the front, and we have challengers. He is not running away from everybody. It was Lockie Bloxham back there at Barber, and this weekend, Bloxham sitting here in third. Jensen Safronis has kind of taken the charge up to Carl Stout. So we have 3 young hot shoes in the series.
And they all seem to be getting closer and closer to trying to challenge him. So eventually, I think there's going to be a mistake that'll open things up. Someone's going to be able to break through. It'd be amazing if he made a perfect score on the season, but I doubt he'll be able to do it. We will see. Incident involving the 295, the 275 under review, naturally. And the drivers come through the chicane. Also want to talk about that Mark Bowden, with this class win, I believe is going to be our points leader after this race, going from his first win in the series to now leading the championship.
I want to go back to what you were saying, though. Sometimes it's just that one little thing to click out there on the racetrack, and evidently it has happened for Fall Line Motorsports and Mark Bowden out there, and now all of the dominoes are falling the right way for them.
Looks like they got the safety vehicles on the scene and attending to the cars. One of them mercifully pulled out of the way, giving them some more space to get through there. And remember, this is 35 minutes plus 1 lap, so that means we need the 3 zeros on our timer, 4 zeros, I guess you could really say, until we get the white flag. Yeah, there we go. That car is properly wedged up against the wall.
Yeah, and you know,
so Joey and I have a bit of visual on our side as to what happened. And it does look like they made some contact down in the middle of that corner. And they, the drivers obviously get very invited in at turn 11 to try and make that pass, but sometimes it doesn't work. I do like the cleverness of the safety crew to lift the car over the turn 11 wall and just bring it on over. Now, he did damage what I think might be the radiator, because we see a lot of fluid that kind of dripped down onto the track.
but what I really enjoy about this, Joe, we've got the track clear with time remaining.
Do we have enough time? Is it going to be a one-lap shootout, maybe?
Well, I mean, we still have the +1 lap by the time we get down to zeros on the board. So
it's going to have to be a one-lap shootout.
The way they picked this thing up and just plopped it over the wall, like this fluid, a non-issue. Sure, they might be able to scrape it up a little bit or push it off to the concrete wall, but the other car is already removed. I see our field down at turn number 7, so they'll easily be able to make it back to start-finish.
They need to get those safety vehicles out of the way.
Correct.
So let's watch those lights. If they can get it restarted, I'm sure the race control would like to finish this one under green. Carl Stout would like it not to. I don't think he wants to do a one-lap dash, because it's no doubt going to be madness to try and wrap this one up. And this is where we saw the lights go out last time, down into turn 9. So we know they will wait all the way until at least that point, as we were told it was turn 8 was the marker that they're looking for. We wait with bated breath as they approach turn 9, and they do not go out. Lights are still on. Well, unfortunately, that means we will finish under yellow here. Now, we are 30 seconds away. We could actually get to the line. Are they?
That's exactly what I'm saying, is that we still have time. 30 seconds.
They're backing the car up.
Yeah, they're not. They're intentionally bringing it to the white flag here.
Okay, yeah.
And I think the reason is because of those safety vehicles still being on the racetrack.
It was so tantalizingly close. we almost had it. Well, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Joe Johnson going very slow. Oh, the rest of the field is going slow. Okay.
We have a huge accordion stack up in turn 10 here.
I'd only seen his car. I didn't see all the ones in front of him, and I thought maybe he had some kind of issue. That was definitely one of the more interesting ways I've seen a car disposed of here in a racing instance. Extracted, thank you.
Definitely not disposing.
Well, it didn't hit that hard. We get one lap behind the safety car, and we will wrap up race number 1. We get to do it all over again. And I think Sofronis is going to be very encouraged, as we've been talking about, knowing that he's got a shot at things. Blocks him as well. And Riley Giacomazzi is no doubt going to be fired up.
So, something that I was just kind of figuring out, we've got a couple different mindsets here up at the front. I mentioned our young 3 hot shoes. Now, I think Carl Stout is going to get out of the car saying, all right, I clicked the checkered flag, I controlled the race, I don't have anything to worry about, right? And that's the mindset he needs to have. Jenson Sofronis, I think, is in a completely different boat, right? I think that he's had 2 green flags that he's been able to run up the back of Carl Stout and really challenge him in terms of race pace. So I think the mindset of Sofronis, when he climbs out of the car, he's going to say, I got more. I got more. I can go challenge Carl Stout in race number 2, which we still have to go here throughout the weekend. So I'm really enjoying what this is going to play up to be.
Yeah, and remember, he was kind of under pressure from Bloxham early on. So I wonder if that cost him a little bit of speed, having to watch the mirrors, having to defend a few times even. So yeah, if he can run away from Bloxham in this next race, if he finds himself in that position, that could allow him to focus forward on Stout, and that could be a very different race. But again, we got to get there first. We'll see when we come back tomorrow. But for now, I think this is providing us with what is, just an interesting, a fascinating race 2 being set up.
I also just think that the age similarity that we've got with the teenagers and the younger drivers, especially towards the front of the field, I'm not going to call it like a little high school clique, right? But when you have others that are peers, call it, you get to go talk to them and you kind of build these rivalries or these friendships out there. And in GT3 Cup, these cars are so fast. These drivers are learning so much so rapidly. I can't wait to see what the top 3 learn this year together.
So you're saying that he's going to tell him that he won no cap? It was all Riz?
I don't even know what that means.
I know the youth. I'm hip as we come around to the finish line. Carl Stout, 5 for 5 now as he takes victory here at Sonoma for race number 1. Sofronis gets an excellent second place, blocks him with another podium for him. Bowden, your winner for the second time in his career in Sprint Challenge, ahead of Caden Kelly. And then how about Alain Scalzo? He will collect another podium, although he will lose the championship lead.
Brandon Hankins going to end up with a top 10 finish as well. I'll go ahead and read through the rest of the results here. Matt Dusek is going to finish in 11th. And, we'll go ahead and mention Carl Stout, Jenson Sofronis, Lockie Blocks, Mark Bowden, Caden Kelly, Dave Musial Jr., Matt Siegel in 7th, Chris Hutter in 8th, Alain Scalzo 9th, Dusek in 10th, Musial in 11th, Sean McCaig in 12th. Riley Giacomazzi, after being moved out of the way in turn number 2, comes back to a 13th place finish. Child back here in 14th with Dan Ammon finishing inside the top 15. Blake McGovern, after serving the penalty, finishes in 16th place. Bill Fennick back here in 17th. Frank Vitiello in 18th. Luke French, 19th. Neil back here in 20th. Todd Treffert in 21st. Brandon Hankins, 22nd. And Francisco de Jesus in 23rd. A couple more cars that had some problems out there on the racetrack. That includes Monte, Alessandro Chiacchetti, Joel Johnson, and Keith McGovern. And from what I understand is that if you're following Artemis 2 right now, it's got the parachutes out. It is about to land out there in the ocean. So if you are a space follower, it's pretty cool what that Artemis 2 has been doing. But if you're interested in what the drivers have to say, stick around because we have all of our post-race celebrations coming up shortly.
Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
When we began racing, we started with a question. Can a dream become a legacy? Across endless nights, relentless rain, competition that never slows. Through every failure, every win, every single race, we've asked ourselves, can a dream become a legacy? And 75 years later, the answer is clear. Because we weren't built for racing, we were born for it.
Well, splashdown on Artemis 2. It has officially landed out there in the ocean, and I also believe that Joe Peak is standing by with our race winners here at Sonoma Raceway.
Ron? All right, we have Carl Stout taking his 5th win of the season. Carl, you had a little bit of competition behind you there, some pressure from Jensen. Did you feel that pressure?
Yeah, definitely the first lap on our original start and the first restart was a little bit sketchy. I feel like I had some pickup on the tire and on the restart, so I had to kind of shake him off. But in the end, yeah, again, mega pace in the car again. Really thankful for the boys at Kelly Moss for fixing the car after qualifying, and yeah, just happy to have won my 5th race in a row.
You talk about Kelly Moss. Obviously, you have the Racing for Children's on the car. I mean, you've been doing such a great job. Tell us a little bit about the cause.
Yeah, it's Racing with Children is obviously towards child cancer and trying to cure child cancer, and racing to cure that. So every handprint is a child that has child cancer, if I'm correct. And we're trying to get all those handprints off the car by as soon as possible to remove child cancer entirely.
You've done an amazing job. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
And up next, I believe we're going to try and see if we can find Mark Bowden. Looks like he's over here. And he's done 2 wins in a row now. As we're going to have a chat with Mark. Not only have you won back-to-back, but unofficially, you are now the championship leader in the Masters. How does that feel?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about that yet. I had a 60-point lead a couple of years ago. It blew it.
I can understand the hesitancy. Now, you also had Caden Kelly very close behind. He was making some moves back there. Did you feel confident you could hold him back?
I don't know. I know he knows this place really well, and he's so fast. And I was just doing my best, driving the wheels off it. The Yokohama tires were great. They held up. The track was a little bit different than it was yesterday with all the rain. Hoping for rain tomorrow because I quite like it. Yeah, great race. Big thanks to Fall Line, great car, Porsche, Yokohama, USAC, and Sonoma for having us.
One last quick one. We commented we felt like you have a lot more confidence since that win. Does it feel that way?
I'm just feeling good this year. Last year was a tough year for me, and seems like I'm putting things together and being more consistent, and that always helps keep you up front.
Well, again, congratulations on the win. Enjoy the ceremonies. And that concludes our racing for today, as well as our race for the GT3 Cup. Make sure and tune in tomorrow, where we'll be back with the Cayman Series.